My girlfriend is upset that I don't contribute to 50% of the housework even though I pay for everything, so I told her we could just get a maid. Now, I left her because she wants me to pay for her credit card debt. I, 32M, have a girlfriend, 29F, who is upset with me because I don't do 50% of the housework. When we first met, she made it fairly clear that she expected me, as a man, to be a provider. As we continued dating for a while, her expectations were in line with me assuming a very traditional gender role. I was fine with this since I've built a fairly successful career and pay roughly 90% of our combined communal bills on a $320K salary while she makes $40K. I do all the maintenance for our cars, the boat, and all the yard work. It's been about 2 years of living together and up until now, I felt things were going well. She has recently started complaining that I'm not carrying my weight around the house. I don't do any of the cooking, do very little of the cleaning, and don't do the laundry. I felt our division of labor was fairly well established, though. I do all the traditional male work and pay the bills, and she maintains the homestead, but if I still have to do half of the housework while almost entirely carrying the financial burden and the yard work, then her contribution would be far less than mine. I've also recently mentioned that when we have kids, I would prefer to have them homeschooled since she's going to be a stay-at-home mom anyway. She wasn't very receptive to the idea, since she wants to have daytime hobbies while she's still a som. This didn't make any sense to me since stay-at-home doesn't imply using the free time to pursue hobbies, it's meant to tend to the house and the kids. Plus, I work almost 70 hours a week and she works around 25. I've literally started having panic attacks between the demands at work and getting home to being antagonized. What do I do? Update 1. The last 48 hours have been really eventful, and while I'm still processing all that's happened, I figured posting would help me gain some mental clarity. The night after posting here, I decided to just have a frank discussion with her and figure out how we can divide our responsibilities fairly. I laid out the math first. I work roughly 70-hour weeks and have an hour to commute, 6 days a week. Another hour is spent on getting ready for work and another hour is spent at the gym or jogging. I typically then spend 3 to 4 hours on average per weekend working on outdoor projects or indoor repairs. Some weekends are more eventful than others, but I felt that this was a fair estimate. I explained that this leaves me with an average of less than 3 hours a day to just live. As she already knows, on most days, I wake up, get ready for work, leave, and within an hour of getting back, I head to bed. I'm not a messy person and generally pick up after myself. Since I'm barely home, if I start doing 50% of the housework, I'd practically be cleaning up after her and her 2 dogs. She was resolute about having me contribute 50% to the housework and kept mentioning that the idea of me doing less housework made her uncomfortable. Eventually, we settled at just having a maid come in twice a week. We had been drinking while having this discussion and continued after we decided on the maid. We were quite a bit more drunk when she mentioned for the first time ever that she had around $15K in credit card debt from before we met and that she wanted me to clear it up before we got married. It just kind of hit me like lightning at that point. This relationship makes life easier for her, but makes life harder for me. Before we met, I was content with my apartment, which was 5 to 10 minutes walking distance from work, with my 2015 Corolla and basic furniture. Since then, I bought a house she wanted, near the water which I'm not a fan of, a boat she wanted, with a pool I didn't want, I spent thousands on furniture she wanted, and a BMW I didn't want. I even got her a job at my company so she could earn as much as she did before but only work 25-hour weeks. When we woke up yesterday, I called off work and I just told her that this relationship wasn't going to work. I just explained to her that my life wasn't getting easier or happier, just the opposite. She was really keen on arguing and eventually even said she no longer wanted the maid, but I didn't really budge. She left around noon with her dogs and I assumed she went to her parents' house since I started getting calls from them. I didn't really have the energy to respond so I just ignored them. I'm not exactly sure when she'll do so, but I hope she'll be able to collect her things in the next few weeks. She can keep working at my company for a couple more months until she finds something more suitable.